Thank you. Yes.
I'll start things off. First of all, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but this is the new explanatory DVD that tells you all about Scientology. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. My wife and I watched the whole goddamn thing.
Wow.
I got everything from L. Ron's biography to all the beliefs, and a lot of it is just sort of common sense human rights stuff. Well, that if you actually obeyed them, you would say, yeah, this makes sense. Freedom of movement, freedom of speech, these freedoms.
Except they don't apply them.
Right, that they don't actually do it. So I just wanted to mention that. And let me ask the first question. Ballpark figure, what kind of money is Tom Cruise and the really big Scientologists, what kind of money are they donating every year?
Millions. I mean, Nancy Cartwright and she's not even huge, but she just donated $10 million to handle Anonymous. John Travolta just donated $1 million to handle Anonymous. Tom Cruise, one of my friends, Mark Headley, I asked him, where are they getting all these buildings? Because you can drive around, there's nobody there. They're empty. They're dead. They don't have any business coming in because of the net. That's not from us. That's from their own abusive actions that they keep doing. We record it. People see it and go, forget it, right? But because of that, Tom Cruise is buying all their buildings. That's where those buildings are coming from. That's what my friend told me. So it's millions of dollars they're donating. But there's not that many that are in that range. And hopefully fewer and fewer. Yes.
What are they getting out of it to donate this kind of money?
Well, they're helping mankind. So
but there are rumors all over about how they position you, especially the acting world, how they position you to win, or they make sure your career excels. Are they getting any of that out of it, or is it strictly pay in?
Well, I can't speak for them because I'm not them. I would imagine they're getting something.
Did it help your career at all?
But you think it does. See, here's the problem. You think it does, and you have thousands of people supporting you saying it does. I actually think Tom Cruise is a good actor. I do. I think all by himself. I trained John Travolta when he first got Welcome Back, Kotter. He was a great actor. He didn't need the Church of Scientology. Nothing from it really helped him become a better actor. He came in with that talent. Do you see what I mean? But what they do is they take whatever talent you have. I'm a good communicator. My father was a broadcaster. My mother majored in journalism, was an excellent communicator. Those skills I got from my parents, right? And Toastmasters. Those are the two things, right? Honestly, it is. But Scientology, when I was in, you say it's because of Scientology. Do you see what I mean? So whatever is good in your life, it's because of Scientology. If it's bad, it has nothing to do with Scientology. That doesn't, no. That's something else. Or you have a suppressive person on your lines, and that's why things are bad. But of course, when things get bad, if they're so OT and able, why can't they help the homeless? Why can't they fix the weather? Why can't they, when there's a big tornado, it's like, why can't they do certain things, basic things? The weather's a little bit off, but I'm saying, homeless, that isn't. Do you know what I mean? Yes.
But as far as the actors go, there is a big network in Hollywood of Scientologist actors. If you watch
The Network.
Earl, the two main leads, Earl and his brother, they're Scientologists, and every week, practically, there are Scientologist guest stars, like Giovanni Ribisi is a recurring character. So there is a lot of networking.
The networking is true. That helps in any group, in any religion. You've got networking Christians, they help Christians. Scientologists, you can be anywhere in the world, and if you're a Scientology OT, hey, come on in.
And they prey on young actors when they arrive in town, too.
Right.
They have workshops that they host at the Celebrity Center 5 times a week now. How to get an agent, how to land a soap opera, how to get a commercial. And these are usually fronted by some fairly well-known Scientologist celebrity, like Giovanni Ribisi.
Or Nancy, she does them.
Nancy Cartwright. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for the young actors just as soon as they arrive, hoping that they can, foster them, and they'll become the next big Tom Cruise.
Okay, yes.
On the video, XenuTV.com, I watched your video when you're attacking these guys or just trying to discuss these guys in Boston.
Okay, yeah.
Two guys, one's got a video camera on you, and the other guy's. I was listening to what you were saying, but I was also watching them. They're robots.
Right.
They wouldn't talk to you. They're robots.
Right.
I'm thinking,
That was shocking to me. I was only out 2 weeks then. It's called Magoo Dancing in Boston. And I'd only been out 2 weeks. I went with Bob Minton and Stacy. They were two people picketing. I said, I'm not going to picket. Because when I first left, I called Stacy. I said, I'm not going to picket. I'm not going to speak out. I'm not going to make videos. Nothing. I'm just leaving under the radar. But they kept hammering me, and that incident was when I finally decided to speak. Because that guy across the street had his camera on me, right? And I kind of waved to him like, hey man, I know the drill. I was there 2 weeks ago. How are you? And he just kept filming me, and he finally just kept coming over and over and over and filming me, and he finally put the camera right on the window of the car. Because I had said to Bob, I'm really hot, and he said, go in the van, turn on the air conditioning. So he's filming me from across the street. He finally comes over, puts it right on the window, and that was the second, David Miscavige, you moron, when I started speaking out. That was it. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, yes. I can't quite quote this verbatim, but I've been approached several times around the corner of Sunset, Vermont, and they always ask me two questions. The two questions are, when was the last time you got a haircut? And the second one is, do you believe that morals today are less than they were about 25 years ago? And I always answer to the second. I just make up an answer for the first one, but I always answer to the second one. I think morals are better today than they used to be, and with that they lose interest.
I'll tell you what that is. It isn't that they lose interest. That's a tone scale drill.
Oh.
And they are merely checking what is your tone scale. And it's usually two of them, right?
It is.
Right. Because one,
usually a man and a woman.
right, one is the student and the other one is checking did they get it right. And after they leave you, they'll say he's this tone. And a tone scale is, emotions, like from enthusiasm, which of course they always are, down to, grief, which is a low tone, or anger, or antagonism, down to boredom, down to apathy. Hubbard had them all listed out in numbers, and now they have to know them by number and everything, and they have to literally walk away from you and go, 2.0. And the other person, I'm teasing. No, 2.0 is okay. It's antagonism. It's the big break point. But I'm just saying they have to. The other person has to say you got it or flunk. Let's go on to the next person.
Right.
So yes.
Tory, you mentioned about losing friends, about people dying. There's cases of Christian scientists who, not taking care of their kids, have been hauled into court, for child neglect and that. Are there legal cases against Scientologists who legally are not taking care of each other?
I'll tell you the tricky thing about Scientology. They love legal. That's their thing. We got money, bring it on. Sue us. Because Hubbard said, it doesn't matter about the case. It doesn't even matter if we win or lose. Just rope them into the court case and keep them there forever. And they've bankrupted some attorneys who literally... It's hard to find an attorney that'll fight Scientology now because they know where they're at. And they're really sleazy people. I was in courtroom with them for 9 days. Or I think 6 days. How many days were we in court, Mark? I think it was 6 days. 2 of the 6 days, it was 15 people. All we were doing was a picket. They killed a lady named Lisa McPherson. They took care of her, and she died in their hands. She was trying to get out of Scientology in Clearwater, Florida. She took off her clothes. They put her into a mental institution. She wanted to be there so she could get away from Scientology. Scientology came and said, she's under our care, we'll take care of her. They locked her in a room for 17 days. She died of dehydration with bug bites, bruises, everything all over her. All of their information is on lisamcpherson.org, right? Is it .org or .com? It's one of the .org, okay. But, thank you. But anyway, because, now what was I saying? I forgot about Lisa McPherson.
Court cases and injuries.
Okay, so they did that course case. They were in charge of that woman. They ended up weaseling out of that court case. They ended up screwing, paid off the judges, paid off the coroner. I forget. It's all on the internet. You can read all about it. But it's like, the IRS. How do they have a tax exemption that no other religions do? I was one of the people they sent down. They said, Tory, we need to handle this IRS thing. So take these flyers down to IRS downtown, pass them around, and it said, $10,000, and this was in the 80s, $10,000 if you'll give us any information blowing the whistle on the IRS. So I'm telling you, these people were pissed. It was like, no, like no one would take it, right? But we finally got a couple of chicks, and they were like, yeah, I think maybe we got something here. Give it to us. And obviously, I only did it one day, and I said, I'm not doing it anymore. But that's my thing. I have about 1 million things on everything in Scientology. I did it for a little bit, and if it was creepy, I said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. For their OT things, just as an example, when the OT levels, before they were on the internet, they were always top secret. They were so top secret, they sent people every single day down to the LA courthouse to check out all the transcripts and sit on the boxes physically. So nobody else could check them out, copy them, put it out. Fanatical. Yes.
It's like the top level people who below, or like Mark Rinder, Marianne DeMoss, like.
Mary DeMoss is not a top level person.
Really?
She's a volunteer.
Oh.
Anyway, Mike Rinder was. Pardon me?
Where do they go? And what are they doing now? Do they speak?
Well, a lot of different people get back into life. It's a big transition to leave Scientology because you have all your friends, but often people go back to their families first and reconnect with their families and then get back started in their life. I mean, thank God for the internet, because there are these message boards where people can go and talk and meet other ex-Scientologists, and it's not... The old days it was horrible because literally... Without the internet, they were declared suppressive. No one would talk to them. They would start going around to your business, to your neighbors, saying, I don't want to talk to him. He's really X, Y, and Z and all this stuff. And because you had nothing else to look at, and they were always out promoting how great they were, people think, oh, you're crazy. And they'd say, yeah, they are crazy. Yes?
Since we're among the skeptics, I thought maybe I'd ask you a question about the billion-year contract.
Which I signed.
Yes. What's a billion-year contract?
Well, again, you have to look at the mind control of that. You're going to join something for 1 billion years. Scientology is really big on you live again. You're reincarnated, you come back. And so that's another reason why their deaths are nothing. Because it's like, he just dropped his body, he'll be back. It's like nothing, right? He'll be back. They're like that. So 1 billion years is, you're just signing away, okay, I'm going to keep coming back. This is my group, I love it, I'm coming back again and again. They don't realize how bad it is. This is when they join. Now at the other end is a true story. One of my supervisors, right down about, a mile away from here over at that blue complex, they eat, if you're walking out on L. Ron Hubbard Way, all of the staff go this way. My supervisor would come out and go down Franklin. So one day I said to him, why are you always going down Franklin? What's up? And he said, okay, you don't know this, and this is top secret, which is everything in Scientology is top secret, right? But Sally, this is Sally Esterman, for anyone listening to this, is dying. And I said, you're kidding. Do you think they told anyone? This woman helped Yvonne Gent start Celebrity Center. Do you think they let anybody know? Nobody knew, except me and about 4 other people. And I went down to see her. She's in a nursing home. This is a woman who gave him 20 years of her life. She's there, she's crying, she's going, Tory, I don't know how to drop my body. And I'm like, this is disgusting. You've done so much work, you should have trumpets, you should have people coming every day. I was so upset by it. And I went to Kay Connolly, who's the head of PR, who I used to work for years ago, and I said, Kay, I'm going to tell you something. You may think these critics are bad news, but when these senior Scientologists, these Sea Org members, start dying, if you don't handle it, if you handle it like you're handling Sally Esterman, you're going to have a fucking nightmare that you can't even think about. And it's true. I still feel that way because they're all getting up to that age where they're going to start dying. And if they can't take... She said, we have it handled. Which is always there. We have it handled. But whether they do or not, we'll see. Yes?
What effect have you seen attributable directly to Anonymous, let's say over the last 3-4 months, as far as celebrities pulling out, or maybe Sea Org members leaving. Have you seen a direct effect on that?
I have. It's a good question. Some of the key things I personally have seen is Jason Begay. Now, I can't speak for him and say it's just because of Anonymous. I think a lot of things happened that helped Jason Begay speak out, who's an actor, and has a video on the internet, on YouTube, on that Mark did on it. So he's one of the celebrity. He's the first celebrity really that left. As far as Sea Org, Mark Headley was already speaking out on Xenu.net, but he was as blown for good. He wasn't saying his name, and he's since come out, spoken on the radio and Glosslip Radio and a bunch of other things. And John Peeler is another Sea Org member. Both of them were up at the Top Secret Gold thing, which is in Hemet, California, for all the Scientologists who don't know. They were there for many, many years, and they're speaking out. So there were a number of different people that have started feeling, I think there's safety in numbers, you know what I mean? And there's like 9,000 people around the world, so more and more people. Those are the ones that I know personally. I'm sure there's more, but it's definitely the ex-Scientology kids. I know Kendra said it was because of Anonymous that she got that started, which is a great site if you know children who are raised in Scientology. ex-ScientologyKids.com, right? Isn't that it? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. In mentioning the various deaths, I know you probably don't know the figure, but has anybody looked into mothers giving birth and dying? Because Scientology approach is not allowed to make any sound whatsoever, let alone have.
I had a silent birth. I had a natural birth, and quite frankly, I know people think it sounds horrible, but when you believe in Dianetics as much as you do, you truly believe you're going to hurt your kid if you're screaming. So I did, and I don't think they've had a lot of deaths at birth. I don't, and I think that part of it is. I don't know about the silent birth part, but the natural birth I loved. I thought it was great. I had it at home. Most of my girlfriends did.
You don't have the proper hygiene. You don't have the proper other things.
There's millions of women all around the world who have given birth out in jungles and stuff where they're fine. It's
sure, right, but the actual modern medicine has reduced significantly the death rate.
Probably so. I haven't found it. My friends all gave birth, and they gave birth naturally, and they all were fine. But that doesn't mean that it is always fine. It was for us, and I'm for it. But, I will say one thing about children is that when you join Scientology, as far as birth, and this is to every parent who is not, or every child who possibly hears this, or every parent who has cut off your kids, when you gave birth to your child, when you raised your child, when you were a husband and you made all the money to raise that child well, did you honestly think that any religion could say, you know what, you're not talking to that kid anymore? Honestly and truthfully, I want every parent to think about that, because a lot of kids are cut off from their families. One of my dear girlfriends, her daughter calls me all the time, and she's so sad she can't talk to her brother, she can't talk to her father. It's just a mess, because of Scientology. But anyway, did that answer your question? I'm sorry if I'm not on the same page with you on that, but I understand what you're saying because of medical science. You're right. Yes.
Speaking of medical, in the Tom Cruise video, I can't remember the exact words. I'm going to have to paraphrase. I'm not going to get it exactly right, but he made some mention of the fact that whenever he goes by an accident, traffic accident, he has to stop because I'm a Scientologist and I'm the only one who knows what to do, or something like that.
Right.
What's that about?
It's about a very cocky, pathetic person is really what it is. But truthfully, in Scientology, they believe they have the tech to help everybody. Do you know what I mean? And they took me off my medicine. They thought that was fine. Yeah. They believe their touch assist can help people. Can they? No, not really. It might make you feel a little better, but it's not really. No. It's just Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, where he knows everything. How could he say to Matt Lauer, I know the source of psychiatry? What is it? I'd love to hear that one. Right? Yeah. But anyway, does that answer it? And the other thing about that is I was out picketing out in front of their big complex, speaking of that, right after he'd said that. And I happened a trip and I fell and I thought I broke all 6 fingers, or 5 fingers. I have 6 because I'm an OT. I'm a Scientologist, so I have 6. No, I thought I broke all 5 of my fingers. I thought I meant 2 hands, but anyway, I didn't. I just sprained them. But did anybody? They were like 5 feet from me. Did any Scientologists come help me? No. I was out in the middle of Sunset Street.
But they know who you were.
It doesn't matter. There's a point where you go, that's it. That's why I'm out. Because there's a point where I went, no, that doesn't fly. You know what I mean? It's like, we should be helping the homeless. This was a big make-break point for me. They had a chiropractor. They all went to. All the Sea Org members go to this guy and everything. He had one of those problems where you have to wash your hands all the time. You know, that illness that people get. And he got worse. And he was out in front of, he was on L. Ron Hubbard Way, and he came by and he was like, Tory, and his shirt was out, and he was just a wreck. And he was like, Tory, help me. You know what I mean? And I was like, I went over to them and I said, what's going on with this guy? And they said, just get away from him. Just leave him alone. I said, what do you mean get away from him? He's our chiropractor. You know, the whole staff of Scientology goes to this guy. He's out in the street. He's screwed up. He needs help. They said, no, leave him be. That's it. We don't have anything to do with him. He's screwed up. That was it. That's a true story. And that was where I just went, huh? You know, those are the kind of things. I wrote an article called Flipping It. And this happens in your own life for everybody, where you'll be somewhere, whether it's your boss, your mother, somebody, where something happens and you think, that's not right. You know, I should say something. But then you think, well, it's my job and I got to get to work and this and that or whatever. I got to do this. Okay, I'll leave it be. And it's just like a light switch, leave it be, keep going. But eventually, every single person who's out of Scientology, there's a point where something happens and you cannot flip that switch again. For me, it was when I quit the top secret mafia and they all turned on me and started screaming at me for an hour, and that was it. That light switch snapped. I didn't leave that night, but in my own mind I went, I got to find out what I don't know. And that was it. Yes?
Can you tell us a little bit about the E-meter?
No. The E-meter is basically like a cheap lie detector lie detector thing that they, from what I understand, that they say registers resistance and can find your emotional charge. That's what they say. So, can it? I don't know. I'm not an expert at it, honestly. I'm not. Is there anybody here who'd like to tell about the E-meter?
How long did it take you to learn how to fake it?
I never faked it. I didn't believe I was faking it. Never. Not ever. I was really a true student, and I learned about it. But I'm just saying, electronically, to explain it, I don't know electronics. It was always kind of tricky for me. I mean, I know how to use one. I know how to audit somebody with it. But why it works or how it works, that part of it I don't. Not really.
The significance of the E-meter in terms of the way, as a skeptic, would view the religion. How does the E-meter fit into the religion?
Well, it's a major part of it. See, Hubbard, what happened was he came up with Clear, with Dianetics. And he said, with the use of Dianetics, which doesn't have an E-meter, you could clear yourself of all your pains and unconsciousness. And the first Clear, down at the Shrine Auditorium, he turned around and he said, now Clear is supposed to have perfect memory, perfect IQ in the old days, right? No pains, no somatics. So he turned around and he said, what color is my tie? She said, I can't remember. That was it for Clear. He realized, I got to move on this. Plus, he was a con man and he wanted more money. So he created the OT levels. It was like, that's okay, you can't remember that. Because what happens is people attest to Clear. There is a point where you go, I'm clear. Right? But the next day, all the shit that you thought you were cleared on comes back, right? And so you go to somebody, whoever you believe, and say, I still have these headaches. And they go, I know, come on in. It's top secret. Come on in. This is a secret room. You can come in. You know, and they get you in some room and they go, now look, nobody else knows this. Right? But there is another level. It's the OT levels, and they will fix those headaches. Or whatever it is that you have. So now, you know, now you're on a higher thing. So the OT levels were where he started. Well, actually, I'm wrong. Because right after Dianetics, he created grades. And with the grades, he started in with the E-meter. He created the E-meter right after Dianetics. And had a bunch of trouble with it because some of the countries coming in and out of the country wouldn't let him and all kinds of other stuff.